You put out good, not you, but the banks put out good numbers, Chris. They write down less in loan losses than people thought, and all they do is sell off 5%. Why?
Two reasons, Brian. Good morning. Weak revenue, and I think investors realize that this quarter we're going to take a little pause, putting aside reserves for future losses. In the background, there's an issue, Brian, that's very important, which is that all of the forbearance that Congress so generously has provided to consumers and businesses is not showing up in bank loss numbers. So until that is over, we don't really know what the whole nut looks like in terms of future loss. This is very important. It's probably why the banks were able to pause putting aside more reserves this quarter. Think about that. It's a presentation issue.
You know, I've called Wells Fargo maybe the most important stock in the country, Chris, for good reason. I mean, the biggest retail bank. They own the most mortgages. The stock's lost half its value. They've fired management. What are you expecting from Wells Fargo? Have they turned it around at all?
Well, they keep making money despite themselves, Brian. Wells used to be probably the best performer in the top four in terms of dollar of earnings per dollar of assets. And they're still quite efficient, but as you pointed out, a lot of self-inflicted wounds. I think it will be years before they get out of the penalty box because they have to demonstrate to the Fed that they have effective systems and controls and that their board is focused. They did not do these things effectively over the last couple of years. So, it's in their hands. The bank has enormous value, but it's trading at a discount today because of the big question mark. To me, it's of the top five. I own U.S. Bank. I own a lot of bank preferreds right now. But Wells has the most potential for change. I just can't tell you when it's going to happen.
But you think the company has righted the ship from a very macro. It may take years to get back to where they were if they ever do. But do you feel like that super tanker that is known as Wells Fargo has finally made the smart turn?
I think so. I mean, it would be astounding if the answer was no, wouldn't it, Brian? This is a large public company. And you would think that the officers and directors realize the seriousness of the situation. So, yes, I think there is potential here. It's a great bank. This is a bank that historically has delivered and really had very few issues. You never heard about them other than earnings. So, to me, this is the one story in the top five that's worth spending time on.
But quickly, I did a CNBC Pro event for our Pro subscribers last week with David Giroux of T. Rowe Price, a fund manager. By the way, broke every record of viewership, which is fantastic. And he recommended PNC Financial. He basically said, I'm going to summarize him, it's the best bank nobody ever talks about.
Well, that's right. PNC, U.S. Bank Corp. There's a couple below the top four that don't get nearly enough love. But yes, PNC is positioned, if they want to take more of Wall Street's business, and they have a nice Main Street business. They have lots of capital. They sold their stake in BlackRock. So they have money. The question is, how are they going to deploy it? And it's a great franchise, Brian. It really is.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.